AFP Fact Check is debunking claims that the U.S. is funding bioweapons in Ukraine, saying, quote, online articles and social media posts claim U.S.-funded labs in Ukraine are developing biological warfare weapons, saying this is part of the justification for the Russian attack on its Eastern European neighbor. But former U.S. officials and non-proliferation experts say the labs are working to detect and prevent the spread of bioweapons and have also helped in containing disease outbreaks.
On Monday, Tucker Carlson addressed backlash he's received for covering the claims on his show. Let's watch.
The New York Times was quick to denounce us for even talking about the subject. Oh, don't call them bioweapons. We never alleged the United States was making bioweapons. We don't know that. What we said is what's factually true, which is there are stores, we learned this from the U.S. government, of Soviet-era bioweapons in Ukraine that for some reason have not yet been destroyed.
And in case you missed it, here's the key exchange between Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs Victoria Nuland and Senator Marco Rubio that's currently in question.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which, in fact, we are now quite concerned Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of. So we are working with the Ukrainians on how they can prevent any of those research materials from falling into the hands of Russian forces should they approach.
No, not weapons facilities, research facilities.
That are dangerous.
And that if the Russians got, could be a problem.
But apparently they already
them.
had at some point because they were Soviet.
Yeah,
right.
This is getting really frustrating. It's not. And in that read, the AFP is saying that that's being given as a justification for Russian involvement. Okay, if Russia's using that as justification, well, no, that is not it. I don't think there's no justification for what Russia's doing. Absolutely fine, but I can still be concerned given what has gone on, or what we've learned, or what we're trying to learn about how this pandemic started. Forgive me for not immediately being comforted by the assurances of epidemiologists, scientists in that field that, oh yeah, all the research there is pretty harmless. Well, it's research into pathogens, and yes, there are pathogens there, and it used to be Soviet pathogens, and could maybe kill some animals if it got out and it'd be scary. And but don't worry.
Right, and
doesn't get me there.
And the claim with the concern with the potential Wuhan lab leak has not been that it was a weapon. I mean, maybe there are a few fringe people who say that this was some weapons program, but in general, people think that if they believe there was a lab leak, they think it was a research facility and it accidentally leaked out of the lab.
As has happened at other labs with other diseases numerous times.
And to tell the millions of people who died from it, well, it wasn't a weapon.
Yeah.
Well,
it was to them.
It was just research. It was just research.
And then you've got a war zone where there's bombs going off, and we've got a biological research facility, numerous research facilities, she says, right?
Right.
So that, it's not very comforting to find out that in the middle of a war zone there are these research facilities.
And she gave that answer in response to a question about weapons, so she didn't say weapons, but the question was weapons.
Right.
And then she answered with, well, there are these biological research
and at some point
that are dangerous.
These are not, this is like the gain of function distinction. Okay, you want to say it's not you scientists want to say, well, it's not technically gain of function, even though what you're describing sounds like you helped a virus increase in its ability to function.
Right. It's a semantics issue.
It's a semantics
issue.
And I hate when they play semantics issues.
Yeah, because really all she has to think is, well, we don't have a weapon there yet. I mean, they were trying to make one, but they didn't quite get to the point where we classified it as a weapon.
Or maybe they
did,
and they're just, because their motives are pure, therefore it's not a weapon. Weapon
That's
is
what
kind
they
of...
say, right. Department of Defense versus Department of War.
Right.
Right.
The time that we went from basically a defensive posture to an offensive posture is when we switched from Department of War to Department of Defense.
Right. And what Tucker said in that clip, and again, I'm sure he's probably said things I disagree with at various points about this and other issues, but you're saying, we don't know for sure. And it sounds like we don't know for sure. Or maybe certain intelligence officials know for sure, but they're not sharing that with the,
but actually,
the American people.
It sounds like, because he was saying, well, we said that there were Soviet era facilities, right?
Yeah.
Well, Victoria was saying, we have biological research facilities that we're afraid of Soviet descendants getting, which doesn't make any sense at all. So actually, I think Tucker, had he actually made the original claims, maybe would have been more accurate even than saying it was Soviet era, because it sounds like it's not just Soviet era.
Right, because you asked that question the other day. You're like, why does it take them 30 years to shut down whatever Soviet production there?
Yeah.
And if I'm understanding this correctly, they're now saying, well, they're at those labs, they're doing research maybe on what the Soviets had, or other kinds of research. Again, research they can say it's to prevent the outbreak of disease, and fine. I'm sure they're thinking what they're doing there is research to prevent the spread of disease, and maybe that is all they're doing.
The building was built in the Soviet era. That's
building
why.
was built, yeah. So it's probably ugly
That's
looking.
when they.
It's probably a really ugly looking building.
Right.
We can pretty much guarantee that.
It's not a good, yeah. Which is not to say anything.
Does not justify bombing it.
I wasn't even going to go there, but not to say anything approving of our own. Half our buildings in Washington, D.C. look like they were built by the Soviets.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. They're very ugly, but totally
What are you
different
gonna
issue.
Well, meanwhile, China has joined the controversy accusing the U.S. military of operating such kinds of labs in Ukraine, which Bloomberg called a conspiracy theory.
And they didn't just join it. Like the thing that has the U.S. upset is that this was leading Chinese propaganda for weeks, that they were saying that you're doing all of this research.
Yeah. Right.
They collaborate with a lot of our researchers. I'm sure they had good intelligence about what's going on there.
Yeah.
And so their propaganda had been that Ukraine has these dangerous weapons labs. And so I think the U.S. is now frustrated that they're now saying that they're now caught in a semantic argument about what kind of labs they have going on.
Do you think Rubio thought he was going to, that Newland was going to say, no, this is a lie. There's no biological.
Yes.
That's what he thought she was going to say, and he's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, there are they?
And afterwards, I'm sure they were, Rubio, you've got the briefings. What kind of question was that, man? What are you doing? But also, yes, Putin has used this as propaganda. China has used this as propaganda, but it wasn't by any means their leading propaganda. Like their leading propaganda was they're Nazis.
Right.
What were the other? I mean, how do they
big one
justify
was NATO,
this?
but to the Russian people, really.
NATO and the Nazis.
Yeah, the Nazis was the big one for the Russian people, to get the Russian people on board with the war.
It was the U.S. that did have
Antifa super soldier
WMDs.
Vladimir Putin.
I have several friends in Russia. I have Ukrainian family, actually, who've left Ukraine, but I have friends in Russia, and I have to say that so that people don't say, Kim's a Putin puppet, we knew it, she's got friends in Russia. I have family from Ukraine.
When you're not on camera, you just speak in Russian.
Yeah.
Call
English is really good. Gotta say.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
But when I ask them, so how do you feel about the war? And they give that answer, well, we have to do something about the Nazis. We can't just let the Nazis run Ukraine. So I do think that propaganda has stuck pretty well with the Russian people, and I think that was kind of the excuse. But
it works very well with the American people too.
Gotta
get Fox News off the air because it's all Nazis. That's what that's what liberals say.
But certainly, I do think. I mean, I'm not sure if this is even much discussed in Russia, the bioweapons labs or the.
Right. I think it's more to troll the West, because the West very famously waged a war, or one country in the West, us, waged a war in Iraq over weapons of mass destruction. And so, all politics and all geopolitics is trolling at this point. And Putin loves to troll the U.S., loves to troll the West. And so I think partly it's like, look, we found more biological weapons in Ukraine than you found in Iraq.
But this is just...
But none of it's serious.
Another conspiracy theory that's not a conspiracy theory. No. So when are we just going to stop labeling things conspiracy theories and just say, there's this theory and we need to explore it, and maybe it turns out to not be true, and then we could say it wasn't true. But so many of these conspiracy theories end up being true.
Kill us
potentially kill us all.
People jump the gun on this one, saying, "Oh yeah, there's nothing. No, this is all about like."
Sounds like they still are. They're still holding on
to
this.
Slow down here. What are they doing? Aren't we a little concerned about that now?
Can we get Victoria back on the stand, and could she elaborate a little bit on what kinds of pathogens? I really would
like them to stop making dangerous things in labs, please, so you don't kill us all. Please.
But they're saying they have to make the weapon so that they can then disarm the weapon. So it's like build the bomb so you could disarm the bomb, right? You've got to train the bomb squads. How do you train the bomb squads? You have to build bombs. So you got to make the biological weapons.
They would bring back dinosaurs to kill us all if they could. They'd let them leave
because you have to know how to defeat the T-Rex.
I saw that on TV.
Like, how would you know if you don't create it?
Everything that happens in the movies happens in real life eventually, right?
I keep comparing well, we got to wrap. But I keep comparing Fauci to like a Qyburn from Game of Thrones, who brings back the corpse of the big mountain fighter guy, just doing little experiments, just tinkering.
See how this goes.
Just it's not gain of function research. I'm just bringing people back from the dead to serve in my army.
Well, he is getting old, right? Maybe he brought himself back first.
Now we're getting into conspiracy territory. All right,
it's not a conspiracy
until it's
you have to
false. Right. More Rising right after this.